Hey guys, Level Cap here, and today in gaming, the Battlefield marketing campaign is in full swing. Valve made a monumental change to CSGO, source code for Cyberpunk 2077 leaked online, and much more. The official Battlefield Twitter account DM'd several creators, myself included, with a cryptic image. The text in the image is scrambled differently depending on which creator it was sent to. When compiled together, the full message reads, "Some of you want to return home, that most human of all instincts. With a heavy heart, I must tell you the truth. The question we must ask ourselves now is, do we accept our fate? Or do we dare to fight for a better world? No one may force you into battle, but I say to all who can hear my voice, if you can fire a gun, if you can tend a wound, if you can cry havoc, those who cannot need you. We need you. War is the only way home." Now, before we go on with this cryptic message, I have a quick word from today's sponsor. Free stuff is cool, right? I certainly think so, and so does today's sponsor, Buff. Buff is an app developed in partnership with Overhauled that rewards you with points as you play games. You can redeem these points to buy stuff on the Buff marketplace like in-game items, gift cards, and even games. All you have to do is sign up, install their unobtrusive app, and start playing your favorite games. The app runs in the background and doesn't eat up resources or demand your attention. And personally, I like that it turns my casual gaming into something that's productive. Being able to earn points towards stuff that I'd like to buy certainly helps me save a few bucks. Buff offers both daily and weekly challenges that give you extra points when completed. Completing challenges levels up your account. Doing the challenges also levels up your account, rewarding you with even more points to spend. If you're interested in checking out Buff, use my link in the description. It's totally free to use and works on both PC and mobile devices. Thanks again to Buff for sponsoring this video. Alright, now back to this decoded image. Above the scrambled text is a bunch of identifying information that refers to the USS Raven Rock. In real life, there is no ship called the USS Raven Rock, but there is a Raven Rock mountain complex that serves as an underground nuclear bunker. It's been called an underground pentagon and serves as an emergency operations center for the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. This might indicate that the message is being sent during a time of war or distress for the US government. The other thing that stands out the most is the date the message was sent. It's listed as XXXX0104 3600 hours. Now, 3600 hours isn't an actual time, as well, there's only 24 hours in a day. It could mean that something is happening 3,600 hours from today, or 3,600 hours from the date listed. If it's 3,600 hours from today, that's the 1st of November. Again, that's assuming that 01 is January and 04 is the day. It's really hard to say. Perhaps this is a teaser that the game is launching on November 1st. Honestly, who knows? The fact that 3,600 hours isn't a real unit of time on the 24-hour clock could even mean the game will feature time travel. 3,600 hours could be a navigational guide. Honestly, if you've got a better idea than me, let me know in the comments. One thing that's clear is that the marketing campaign for this year's Battlefield game is going into full swing. The game is set to be revealed on the 9th, so we won't have to wait much longer. The teaser announcing the reveal date is Battlefield's most popular social media post of all time, so the hype is very real. Of course, it wouldn't be an episode of Today in Gaming without some Battlefield leaks. Screenshots of what looked like gameplay footage were uploaded to Imager by an anonymous source. We're refraining from showing them because, well, they look legit enough that DICE or EA might DMCA the images. But the heads-up elements also look pretty fan-made, so it's tough to say for sure. As with all the Battlefield leaks, treat them as speculation until proven otherwise by official information. The screenshots show a map set in the desert with a cityscape and stadium. An Apache helicopter and VTOL are both highlighted in the images. They also show a sandstorm rolling in on the map, which looks absolutely massive. Players that got the game for free have been kicked out of ranked matchmaking. When CSGO went free to play 3 years ago, many players were concerned that it would become a hotbed for cheating, smurfing, and other malicious activities. Since then, many of those concerns have become a reality. Valve released a blog post explaining the changes. They made them because the benefits of free-to-play access become an incentive for bad actors to hurt the experience for both new and existing players. From now on, free-to-play players won't get XP PvP, ranks, drops, or skill groups. To get those features, you'll need to pay $15 for the game's Prime Status Pass. Now, the news isn't all bad. Valve also added an unranked mode that is the same rule set as ranked, but you can play on any available map. This is something players have been asking for since CSGO's competitive matchmaking has been a thing. They added a scrimmage mode in the recent past, but that only supported a handful of maps. This new unranked mode is a big improvement. Overall, the changes probably won't have a massive impact on cheating in CSGO, but it should dramatically reduce the number of people using bots to AFK farm XP and drops. In other Valve news, their Proton Linux compatibility system just added support for NVIDIA's DLSS upscaling tech. The two companies worked together on the project, officially bringing DLSS to Linux for the first time. Proton runs most Windows games at basically native speed on Linux. Adding DLSS support means supported titles now get a huge performance benefit of NVIDIA's tech on Linux as well. Star Citizen's developers released a video giving some insight into how they brought the Bengal carrier to life for the Invictus launch event last month. The Bengal is the game's largest ship and has been more or less a prop until now. It was featured heavily in the game's original Kickstarter pitch and has been one of the most requested ships by players. The developers had to rework the entire ship from the ground up to make it functional. This involved a total rebuild of the ship's propulsion systems, updating its flight model, repositioning all of the weapon turrets, and creating an AI to control all of those turrets. The leap in both visual quality and functionality from the original trailer is extremely impressive. In its current state, the ship only exists as an NPC-driven entity, so while it can fly around the universe and engage with players, you can't pilot it yet. The good news is all the work the developers have done to it has set it up for manual control at some point down the road. In other Space Sim news, Elite Dangerous just got a second major update to address issues with its Odyssey expansion. The expansion launched in disastrous fashion with tons of bugs and technical problems. The first patch fixed a lot of things, and this second patch is also pretty hefty. The patch notes include changes to pretty much every element of the game, from audio and cosmetics to lighting, menus, UI, missions, and more. These post-launch updates make the expansion much more playable, but it's still a ways off from feeling polished and complete. The source code for Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 has reportedly leaked online. It was acquired in a ransomware attack on the developer of both games, CD Projekt Red. The attack was absolutely devastating for the developers as it exposed their private information, communications, working files, and clearly much more. A group hosting the files is forcing people to pay $10,000 to access the source code, but have released several other files to prove that they have what they claim to. The big concern over these leaked files is that Cyberpunk is getting a multiplayer expansion at some point. The leaked source code could and likely will be used to create incredibly complex hacks for the game that cheaters can use to undermine the experience. Ark Survival Evolved just got its final expansion. Genesis Part 2 sends players to a new world complete with new missions and wildlife. Doctor Who's David Tennant plays the big bad guy that you have to beat at the end of the expansion. Before we get to our final story today, just a quick reminder to subscribe for future Battlefield updates. We'll be covering everything DICE reveals in the coming days, so stay tuned. God of War Ragnarok's director Cory Barlog issued a statement on Twitter today telling fans to stop harassing developers over his decision to release the game for both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Sony announced the news a few days ago, and it sent fans into a tailspin. PlayStation's head Jim Ryan has been quoted in the past saying games developed as next-gen titles wouldn't be held back or put on the PlayStation 4 as a cash grab. Fans felt the announcement that the next God of War game would be cross-generation was Sony going back on their word. But it sounds like, at least in God of War's case, the decision was entirely the developers to make. And that wraps it up for Today in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Levelcap, signing off.